Hey crew, it's Chris Gilmore here from Chris Outdoors. My buddy Marley, we're out on a tracking mission and I got a cool story for you today. So this one is about tracking black bears. And one of the things that I love about tracking is the way that it allows us to be able to tell the story of the landscape and pick up on all this other detail that's beyond what our sensory experience might be in any one given moment. And really get a glimpse into the lives of animals and put behavior into context. It really changes the way that we relate to and understand what's happening all around us on the land. I call this nature's language. So this story is kind of cool. And I'm gonna come back to this track over here in a second, but look at these these are bear claw marks on the tree here. And on the other side of the tree, there's actually a bunch of black bear hair. But what's really neat about the story is it actually goes back to the spring. So I'm out for a walk in the springtime with my buddy Marley here. There's Mar, say hey Mar. Anyways, Marley and I are out for a walk in the springtime and all of a sudden I hear like thrashing of branches. And I've never quite heard a sound like this in the nature, like a wildlife making a sound like this. So there's a bunch of thrashing of branches and a growl. And instantly I'm just like, that sounds like a bear. And if you don't know this, springtime is black bear mating season where I live here. So anyways, I hear this noise, I kind of stop in my tracks and Marley, being the bold adventurer that he is, Marley just goes racing off towards where this noise is coming from. So I start calling him, I'm trying to get him to come back, and pretty quickly he comes ripping back. But I don't think he's coming because I called him, he's coming because he's actually scared. And he just runs right past me, starts heading back towards the house where we came from, and I'm like, ooh, that must be a big bear being aggressive. Marley's not generally afraid of bears. This bear must have scared him. So I kind of paused because, you know, the last thing you want to do with a bear is actually turn and run. They're way faster than us, and sometimes that will actually trigger them to attack. At this moment, I can't see the bear. I don't actually feel threatened. I'm not even really scared. I'm just kind of like aware and paying attention to the moment and wanting to play my cards right. So I just kind of sit there for a couple of moments and I basically listen, and this bear continues to growl and just thrash branches. I can't see it, I can hear it. It's super close, maybe 50 feet away, but through the woods. So I kind of sit for another minute or so and just get a feel and like, okay, good. He's not coming any closer to me. I don't feel any threat, but like he's being super aggressive. I don't know why. I better get out of here. It's mating season, so I don't know if it thinks I'm another bear. What I wish I knew is which way the wind was blowing from. That would be super important because if the wind was coming from behind me, that bear knows I'm a human. And it's probably going to be less likely to come towards me or act. It's probably more likely to even take off. If the wind was blowing towards me from the bear might not know that I'm a human at this point. It might think I'm another bear. And during mating season, it might think I'm another male and want to be aggressive. And in that moment, I actually forgot to think about which way the wind was going from. It would have been really helpful to know, and it would have actually given me more information to this story. And part of being a tracker is actually tuning into all those pieces because all of that's relevant information. So anyways, let's jump forward to this here. So this winter, my wife comes back from a walk and she's like, hey, Chris, I found a bear territorial marking tree. I want to show it to you. And I was like, oh, cool. Where is it? And she describes where it is. And I'm like, no way. That's the exact spot that bear was the day that it was freaking out on me and being aggressive. I'm like, I got to go check this out. So what I've realized now is that day, that bear, what we actually walked on was the bear here territorial marking this tree. So let's take a look at what the signs actually look like if you haven't seen them before, because there's 3 different signs on here that all show us the bear. Now the first one here, look at these. These are claw marks where it's just taken its claw in and it's dug them in and it's marked it. So again, this is territorial marking. It's done during the mating season to let the females know they're around. They leave their scent as well as warn the other males, kind of trying to show dominance for the area. So on this side of this tree, it's throwing these big scratches. And then up here, you can see there's these 2 tiny little holes. And what'll happen is the bear will scratch. There's actually a 4th claw mark right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the bear will come and it'll rub its back on the tree and it'll reach over and bite with its teeth. So right there, if you can imagine, the bear is literally reaching over its right shoulder and it's catching its 2 teeth in there and biting into the tree. And then it does it again over on this side. So there's 2 more holes right there where the teeth marks are there. And what's cool, if I look here, I don't know how well you can see this, but that's actually brown black bear hair. Because often they'll rub their backs and they'll leave their hair inside of the tree. So classic territorial bear marking. If you find one of these, it's cool to come back to this year to year because they'll often hit these trees over and over again. I know this tree, so this is the first time or the first year this one's been hit, but I'm curious to come back here and see whether it hits again this spring. Another classic place that bears will often do this is on telephone poles. So if you're in bear country and you know where there's like a power line cut and there's poles all along there, go and explore those poles. Look for the brown bear hair, as well as the claw marks, as well as the tooth marks in there. So anyways, there's a little video on bear track and sign and territorials with a fun kind of story to go along with it. And hopefully you can see through that story, one, how things like the wind create context around what's happening, as well as being able to track and see the signs. If I hadn't, or if my wife hadn't found this tree, I never really would have known why the bear was growling at me on that day. Because she found the track actually adds to the story of the landscape, and it just makes it so interesting and engaging to start to have that kind of understanding of the language of nature. Now, if understanding the language of nature is something that really calls to you and something you would like to go deeper in, then I invite you to come and check out a video and an experience that we have over at www.learnnatureslanguage.com. Again, www.learnnatureslanguage.com. You can also check out more of my stuff at chrisoutdoors.ca. Okay, cheers and happy tracking.